to be great at business, right, you had to compromise your morals, right? You had to maybe do some things, especially in the automotive space, right? That's a big reputation, is that, oh, the sleazy car dealer. But that's not the case, right? Is that we are trying to model every day to our staff that you got to be a great father to work for me, right? Like if you're not, like you can be the most top tier performer we have, but we're going to weed you out because that's not who we are. That's not the type of people we are. So that I think is the biggest thing for us. And it's hard, right? Like it's when you live with your boss and work with your boss every day, right? And she tells you what to do and how it goes. Life becomes a little bit more challenging, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't trade anybody, right, to work with, besides her, because she's unbelievable and she's a great partner and she does a great job, right, as far as, running the company. And she does all the things that I never want to do. I just want to be a retailer. I want to be an operator guy. And she deals with all of the other stuff, which is a good fit.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Hitters Podcast. I'm on with Travis and Crystal Zmak, who are friends of mine through Andy Elliott's coaching. I met them at a recent Andy Elliott event, and come to find out, they are kind of car dealership moguls. I don't know, like they own a number of car dealerships. They just acquired one more. Which dealership? Out of curiosity, where are you guys right now? Which one?
We're actually in the top of our used car store. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
We run the gamut. I mean, we have an in-house financing program that we have ran for Crystal started, 10 years ago now.
15
years ago. Sorry, my math's really good. So from buy here, pay here, all the way up to we just acquired an Audi franchise. So.
All right. Well, now I know where I'm buying my my dream car, which I think is RS4. So
there you go.
Let's go.
Hang out with you guys. I have to get a stick shift one though. Okay. I asked you this when I met you at the Andy Elliott event. How does one get into owning car dealerships? It's just like in my mind, I'm like, where in the world would I have started to get to where you guys are now owning multiple?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I would say people have all different backgrounds, but I can tell you how ours is. I look at it as owning a car dealership is a once in a lifetime opportunity because they don't come around very often. It's, generational. You hear of people keeping car dealerships for 3 generations. And so it's really unique to be able to own them. In our case, we are very lucky because we're technically 2nd generation owners. My dad is the dealer and he started after it's a second career. He was in the insurance industry for the first half of his career, worked for Liberty Mutual, national sales manager, really cool story. And then had the opportunity to get into the car business. And one dealership, a friend of his called him and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy this store in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Do you want to go in on it with me?" And so he took the leap, came in, general manager, and had the option to buy him out over 10 years. That happened in 7. So that was really neat. And then he's just paid it forward, where everybody in our group, so we have 9 dealerships and all our stores have a partner who started in the dealership and then they've been able to buy in over the years. And so not every group's like that. Every group is a little bit different. But that's kind of who we are, is trying to provide that opportunity for somebody who maybe would have never got that opportunity with another group.
Agreed. And the car dealership world is a racket. I mean, it's so hard to get in. The amount of capital it takes to do these deals is challenging. So you could have a great general manager who worked his whole life and can never have the opportunity to be able to buy his own. And so one of our goals is how do we give back to the people who helped us be successful? Um, so every general manager we have, with the exception of the store we just bought, we all worked under the same rooftop together. I mean, so we've been working together since we were 20. Crystal has, right? I came in a little later at 22, I think. But we all worked together. We all grew up together. We all kind of spent time in the business together. I mean, it was, some of our GMs, like I held their kid in the hospital when their baby was born. It was like that close of a relationship. So it's been awesome to see them get the opportunities to be successful. Crystal just became the dealer, right, of the Audi store. And, similar to Mario, we went all in, right? We took all the cash we had and cashed out our life savings and said, okay, we're gonna go all in together. But it's tough, right? So but it's rewarding and it's fun. And it's, one of those things that the retail automotive space is awesome because regardless of what the economy does, there's one part of the business that's always going to be good. Right. When new cars down, right, the used car business is good, or service parts and service is really good, or, so on and so forth.
This episode is brought to you by Corberry Digital. If you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, or home service business and you're tired of wondering where your next lead is coming from, you need to check out Corberry Digital. Corberry specializes exclusively in helping home service companies dominate their local markets through SEO, Google Ads, local service ads, websites, content marketing, and lead generation systems that actually produce a measurable ROI. Their team doesn't just focus on clicks and impressions, they help contractors lower customer acquisition costs, increase qualified leads, and build a marketing engine that scales. What I like about Corberry is they understand the blue collar space. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Their entire focus is helping trades businesses win in their backyard and generate more profitable jobs. If you're looking to grow your business, improve your online visibility, and build a marketing system that works, visit Corberry.com and schedule a strategy session with their team. That's Corberry.com. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast. What's up, everybody? This podcast is sponsored by Grimes Financial Advisors. You've spent time and energy building a successful business, but here's the question. Do you have a real retirement plan or just a pile of investments? Our friends at Grimes Financial Advisors specialize in helping business owners and families create a clear roadmap for retirement through their proprietary retirement blueprint. Instead of focusing only on investments, they look at the entire picture: income planning, taxes, long-term care, legacy planning, and making sure your money is actually working for the life you want to live. I've gotten to know Dustin personally. One of the things that I respect most about him is he believes every financial decision should fit into a bigger plan. You shouldn't just chase returns. So whether you're 5 years from retirement or simply want a second opinion on your financial strategy, I highly recommend reaching out to Dustin and his team. Visit Grimes Financial Advisors to schedule your consultation and start building your own retirement blueprint. This podcast is sponsored by Action Coaching. If you're a home service business owner, ask yourself this: are you constantly chasing new leads or just keeping the business growing? Ben Jordan built a $100 million plumbing and HVAC company. Inside the Action Group, he teaches contractors how to create recurring revenue, strengthen leadership, improve sales, and build systems that reduce the owner's day-to-day involvement. Members get weekly coaching, practical templates, proven scripts, and strategies designed specifically for home service businesses. If you want to get out of the truck, build something that runs without you and creates real wealth, check out the Action Group on School and book your free consulting call.
I have a naive question. So I've always heard it's called a car dealership. There's officially, though, a title of someone that holds like a license as a dealer. Is that like a legal thing?
Yeah, it's funny because we sent out an internal announcement about this Audi store that we just bought, and we said Crystal's going to be the dealer, and a guy we brought on, he's going to be the general manager, and so it just kind of sparked that question for a lot of people. So it's not necessarily a naive question. I think people in the business don't even necessarily know what a dealer is. So a dealer is on every dealership, every manufacturer, so Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, whatever it is, has a dealer of record. And so they're the person who on paper, they're ultimately responsible. And then technically underneath them is the general manager of what you typically hear about.
It's like the broker in charge and broker in charge in financial services. It sounds like
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
rolls up legally under. Okay, I gotcha. So I talk to a lot of blue collar guys where a lot of stuff goes wrong on a daily basis. What goes wrong at a dealership from day to day? Like what's the fire that sometimes has to be put out if it pops up ever?
Oh man,
Yes.
there's a lot.
I mean, it's, we'll just talk about my store a little bit. I got 180 employees. So start there, right? I have 180 employees and I got guys that are making, $18 an hour, right? Changing oil and washing cars, right? To, people who are making well over the six figures mark, and so it's a challenge, right? Because as a GM, you have to be able to manage all of those personalities. The person who sits down in front of you, who's having an employee issue that day, they might be in two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So there's that aspect, which certainly can be challenging. I would say the other part, is just customer issues. Like we see 150 plus or minus customers through our service department every day. And majority of those, right, wheels are coming off and, oils are getting changed, right? I mean, everything's happening on the car. And all it takes is one technician to make a small mistake and not tighten a drain plug, right? Or not pay attention that the gasket had a split in it when you put the oil filter on. And now you got, whoever calling you saying, hey, right, I got oil all over my garage floor and how do you fix it? And what are you going to do? And I just bought the car. And I mean, there's so many things that go wrong. And, but we're fortunate, like we have a great leadership team. I do, right, that I've worked with for a really long time. And so, we have, I would say fewer issues, but volume, right, creates an issue. If we have a small problem, on every customer that comes in through service, that becomes a very big problem, right, at the end of the day or the end of the week.
I can't imagine 180 employees. My heart just jumped. I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot to manage.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And that's at one location. So Teton Toyota in Idaho Falls, they're our biggest location. And then right next to them, we have a Volkswagen store and they have about 40, but total Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and now Montana, we have just over 500. So when you say like, what kind of problems do you run into? I mean, it's everything under the sun with employees. And we try to know as many of the employees and their stories as we can, because I don't want to be like a big group where people are just a number. We really try to make sure we know our people. So that's another thing that's a challenge, is trying to make sure you stay in tune and are available for people.
What's going really well with your business right now? What's a big challenge you guys are facing?
I think, supply has started to normalize on the new car side, so that has been helpful. We still have some struggles at our Honda stores just because Honda's been having some manufacturing challenges, but it's I would say that side of the business is going well. Not having to, I think the best dealer now is winning the customer experience, not who has the car. Because say during COVID, right, 2021, you walk in and who had the car is who won. Not the guy who took the best care of the people, who was involved in the community, who did all these things right and gave an exceptional experience, because they walk in and they say, hey, well, it's 6 months to get my car from these guys, or I can take this one home from these other guys. So I love, right, where everyone kind of has the same amount of product and we get to compete on the customer experience, because I think that is an area where we get to shine above.
So what do you do? How is it different? You give them champagne, or like, how you make them feel special? What's the thing?
Yeah, we can't have them driving home in that state.
Yeah.
But no, we just really try to be we try to meet customers where they're at the things that are important to them before they decide they want to buy a car. So I'll give you an example. This week, or this last weekend, we were at the Salvation Army, giving away backpacks for kids that were going back to school. Being there, being involved, right, being able to have my wife and my kids, right, all have that experience was really important. And it might be something like that, or we might be, at the symphony gala and they're, right, investing time and energy into that as well too. And so meeting those people where they're at before they need a car is important, because they walk in and they say, oh yeah, we saw you, right, at so-and-so event last week or last month. That charity is really important to me. So right? Because of that, I'm gonna patronize your business. And then from there, we have to give them a world-class experience. We have to be experts on the product, to be able to help them understand what they do and don't need. I think it's a lot like a financial advisor. When the financial advisor, they go into their office and they say, I need to be in stocks, right? Well, do they really want to be in stocks, or do they want to be in bonds, right? Or do they want to be in just maybe some private equity stuff, right? There's all the different options, but having that person at the expert at the end of the table, right, is really important. And that's what we strive to be.
Love that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I also think something that differentiates us is the training that we provide. One of the things I really admire about the Elliott Group where we met you is the training that they do. And we're not that level yet, but we're going to get there. But that was something we really have always focused on, is training our employees to take care of people, understand the customer, where are they at, know the objections. And we could be selling anything. Like, we could be selling vacuums. We just happen to be selling cars, and giving them a best in class experience is what we try to do.
I'm sure there are cars that come with vacuums, though. I'm sure that's a thing.
There are.
Honda
yeah.
Odyssey.
Yeah, Honda, and those are good for moms. Yeah.
There you go. What's the biggest challenge you guys are facing right now?
The biggest, I would say, from my seat that I sit in as the COO, is the next generation of leaders is one of the biggest challenges, because we've grown and we've taken people and built them up and given them an opportunity to be a sales manager, a general sales manager, a general manager, whatever it is. And now the well is a little low. And so trying to replenish that is one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing in our business. In our industry, I would say it's continual technician recruitment, like finding automotive technicians or building automotive technicians. We've taken a different approach where we will build them, and it's worked out really well for us in our businesses, some more than others. But like here at Teton Toyota in Idaho Falls, we have enough technicians. Like, and not every car dealership can say that, but it's because Travis and the service manager and myself, we took a really big interest in starting younger, like starting to talk to
That
kids
seems to be a
like
trend for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I would say with the leadership development, like it's how do we accelerate timeframes? How do we take our lived experience and pass that on to the people that work with us, to be able to, so they don't have to spend 15 years, right, grinding in the business, because sometimes you've identified them too late. But how do I compact that down and be able to get them to where they need to be as quickly as we can? Because our shortage is not going to be opportunities or deals that come available. It's going to be, do we have the talent to go in the store, right? The human capital is the hardest part of the equation.
Yep. That seems to be the pain point for the blue collar guys. Sometimes I get off these podcasts, I just want to give him a hug, because his number two just left him and hung his own shingle. And man, it's hard out in these streets. It's tough.
yeah.
I'm curious, in the car dealership space, one of the things, I own an AI agency, and I'm always curious to hear how people are integrating AI into their businesses, the customer service rep or inventory management or speed to lead. Like, how are you guys integrating AI into your business?
So I would say right now, the biggest area that we've found that is helpful for us is to improve employee efficiency, right? Some people are talking about, oh, it's going to replace the employee. No, I just want to triple the output, right? I want to put them in a situation where they can be productive. They can, set more appointments or make more calls. So like right now in my service BDC, we were probably doing 15 outbound calls per agent a day. I have 3 on usually every day. Well, we took an AI tool and now we feed all of our calls that need to be made, right? So we have multiple different lists from the manufacturer, whether it's, hey, this has a open service campaign or a recall, right? This one might be you're overdue for maintenance, and they funnel them all into a system. And that call queue, right, just keeps them working all day long, right? And we went from making 15 outbound a day to now I think we're almost at 60 per agent per day, to make them more efficient, because they were having to go through and manually pull the list and then look through and say, okay, well, where are the duplicates and so on and so forth. And so I think as that continues to evolve, that's our biggest opportunity is, the increasing the efficiency of the people that we have already in place.
I love that because I think there is, Travis, a lot of fear around AI. And, I do think that robots will be able to come in and fix cars, and the fine motor skills we're seeing on these things now, it's kind of scary. But at the moment, I think AI is mainly a tool to leverage your best staff. Like, who wouldn't want to turn their best tech into 10, the best sales guy
Agreed.
into 10?
Yeah.
And
Well, and
I
how do
like,
you, and like on speaking of technicians, like I really think I have the best Toyota master tech, right? He's a master diagnostic technician in the whole Northwest, right? Like every year he's picked as what they call the quality champion, which is essentially he is the mecca. But how do I take him and take what he has in his head and be able to distribute it to, our younger generation? And I think that is some of the AI, is we've realized throughout the years, he thinks differently than every other technician.
did you buy him a
He
quad? Get him an AI recorder and just, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, right? Something like that, right? Might be beneficial. But, that's our goal, right? Is how do we take that native knowledge that we've learned? I hired him, I don't know, 17, 16 years ago. And he was out of the construction industry. He'd never turned a wrench on a car in his life. And I hired him to change oil and then grew him. And he grew himself to where he is today. And now he is like I said, he's one of the top tier technicians, right, in the country.
That's super. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
What is one thing we haven't talked about today that you guys get fired up about? It could be team, culture, vision. It could be family, faith, anything that we haven't talked about that you get excited about.
Oh man, I get excited about a lot of things. I get really excited about my family and what we're providing for them. We have young kids, and so the culture we're building here in our automotive group is to focus on what's going on at home too, because if things aren't good at home, then they're not going to be good at work. And so we're just trying to lead by example, because like our kids are the number one thing for us, and they're in the other room right now. I think they've called us like 7 times while we've been on this podcast. But they're 12, 9, and 7. And so continuing to show them that, you can have, I don't like to say you can have it all, but you kind of can, but it takes a lot of work. And so continuing to lead by example for them in our team, that's the kind of stuff that gets me really fired up. When an employee comes in and says, hey, my wife's pregnant, I'm super excited, and I know how long they've been trying, like I can cry with them about that. Or somebody says, because of you, this job has changed my life. I have a gal that has worked for me for 12 years now. And when she came in for an interview, she almost canceled because she couldn't find a babysitter. And I said, well, how old's your kid? She said, well, he's like 4 months old. Like, so he's in a car seat? She's like, yeah. I'm like, just bring him to the interview. But we're not like, you can't have your kids when you're trying to sell a car. Like, that's different, right? But bringing your kids in and knowing that that is important to us. She's so loyal. She's been here for 12 years when I've seen her life change and grow and things like that, that gets me really fired up too. So.
That's cool.
And I would echo that. And I would say one of the things, like Andy told me, I guess, when we first started talking and working with him, right, is he's like, you can have it all. And he's like, I'm going to help you, right, learn that. And that's what I want to help my staff learn, right, is that you can have you can have a strong belief in your faith, right? You can have an unbelievable family. You can have an amazing relationship with your wife, and you can have this killer business. And that was the first time in our career that we'd been told you had to have it all. Because you always had to give up something, right? To be great at business, right? You had to compromise your morals, right? You had to maybe do some things, especially in the automotive space, right? That's a big reputation, is that, the sleazy car dealer. But that's not the case, right? Is that we are trying to model every day to our staff that you got to be a great father to work for me, right? Like if you're not, like you can be the most top tier performer we have, but we're going to weed you out, because that's not who we are. That's not the type of people we are. So, that I think is the biggest thing for us. And it's hard, right? Like it's, when you live with your boss and work with your boss every day, right? And she tells you what to do and how it goes, life becomes a little bit more challenging. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't trade anybody, right, to work with, besides her, because she's unbelievable and she's a great partner and she does a great job, right, as far as, running the company. And she does all the things that I never want to do. I just want to be a retailer. I want to be an operator guy. And she deals with all of the other stuff, which is a good fit.
That's good. I think my wife and I would kill each other if we worked together.
We hear that a lot. We do have 2 separate buildings. So
Yeah,
I'm in the Toyota store. She's here, right? We got to have a little bit of distance.
I love that. Well, hey guys, this has been so much fun. Thanks for coming on the show. Where can people go if they want? I pulled up the Teton Toyota website. Where can people go if they want to learn more about you?
Yeah, you can go to, we have tetonautogroup.com. That's kind of our careers and culture page, and learn more about us on that. But yeah, each store has their own individual website. Travis and I are part owners in Teton Toyota. And so that's about Teton Auto Group right there, and kind of just shows some of our culture, where all our locations are, and just a little bit more about the people that work for us and what openings we have. And yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the pod. We'll probably want to have you guys back on in a couple months to check in on the progress.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the show.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.